All right, guys, welcome into round 2 of the Belly Up Sports bonus round. This is, if you guys missed round 1, go back and check it out. We had a great conversation on favorite players that everyone else hates. Joining me again, I will have the same cast of crew. But guys, round 2, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is all Belly Up Sports personalities from across the network coming on. And again, like I said, joining me is the same guys, same rowdy crew from round 1. It's going to be Vince. It's going to be Ryan McCarthy. It's going to be Hector Flores. Guys, I appreciate you guys joining me yet again for another edition of the Belly Up bonus rounds. Round 2 this time. Are you guys ready for this one?
Let's do this.
All right. This one's going to be a little bit shorter than the earlier video for round 1. So if you guys check that out, don't worry. Maybe you don't spend 20 minutes this time. Maybe like 10 this time. Maybe 20, 15 and a half. I don't know. We'll play this one by ear. This depends on how rowdy you guys get. All right, guys. We're going to start bench and cut. And we're going to talk potential NFL Hall of Famers. I say potential because only one of them has not been elected into the Hall of Fame. But I have 3 quarterbacks for you. They're all retired. Number 1, Steve Young. Number 2, Brett Favre. And number 3, the guy that hasn't been inducted in the Hall of Fame, but you got to imagine he is, Ben Roethlisberger, Big Ben himself. All right, so here's the rules. You got to pick one to cut, got to pick one to bench, got to pick one to start. And your bench player, you got to keep in mind, he's got to play sometime, right? So you got to keep that in mind. Cutting him, it means he's never going to be there. It's a play on, the other game, and I'm not going to mention what that actual game is. But all right, we're going to start off with Hector on this one. Hector, who are you starting? Who are you benching? Who are you cutting?
Oh, man. I hate this. I hate this so much because all 3 of these guys are dogs. I mean, all right, we're specifically playing, right? We're not talking about
specific playing, only playing.
Off the field.
Only playing. I will leave that alone. If you want to dive in there, you can dive in there.
All right. I love a gunslinger. I gotta pick Brett Favre to start. He was a big part of my upbringing growing up watching Brett Favre. I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. And it was a real good way, especially for someone that wasn't really known much about American culture, and not entirely know anything about football. But I just knew this guy could really throw the ball, and that Packers team with him was a very interesting team. And I think I didn't root for the Packers. I mean, I didn't even know what Green Bay was at the time because the only thing I knew at that time was Houston.
They had a cheese logo on the side of their head.
I didn't even know there was a cheese involved. I just saw a G. But yeah, no, Brett Favre is a big part. I actually thought he was from Texas at one point, but he's actually from Mississippi. Missouri or Mississippi.
Yeah, Mississippi. It's as southern as Texas. So,
fun fact: when I was an intern for Rice University, I got to go to Southern Mississippi for a game.
I'm sorry.
And they had the little band, a beautiful stadium. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh no, going to Southern Mississippi. That part.
Not my first time. Benching. I think it just goes back to I actually got to watch this guy play, and that's Big Ben Roethlisberger. I think the guy comes up big, no pun intended. Also, guy for someone that, and also just dog, right? Always was hurt a lot. I mean, the guy was practically a statue when near the end. And yeah, obviously I'm cutting Steve Young. I don't know too much about him. As far as I knew about 49ers, it was always Joe Montana and I mean, I knew something. I knew it was Steve Young eventually, but I didn't know he was left-handed. Didn't know him known for was a scrambler. Obviously, this is things I didn't know at the time. But when I thought of 49ers, I thought of Joe Montana. That's all I always put the 2 connection to, and of course the catch. But if I had to start it, Brett Favre, because he's just so much fun. Just don't look at his text messages.
We don't talk about him in New York.
Oh man, Hector, that's a heck of a first start there. You're cutting Steve Young. That's the part I'm most shocked about, I think, is because you said Joe Montana and the is Steve Young. Is the next quarterback in line of who you think of. So that's the part I was shocked of.
I think that's interesting though, Kelsey. I'd never heard that argument before. That when you think of the 49ers, you think of Joe Montana. And that's true.
It's absolutely true.
Very true. I had never actually heard it put that way before because obviously I came in towards the end of the Joe Montana era and was there for the Steve Young era. but I still think of Joe Montana when I think of 49ers. So,
Yeah.
Good argument.
Fun fact about Joe Montana: Bill Walsh almost traded him to the Baltimore Colts to pick John Elway in 1983.
Well,
Yeah.
that would have been either way.
I'm glad I could give you that perspective, Vince, from a guy that for the longest thought that Rocky was in Spanish.
Maybe that's a topic for next time. What's the wildest sports movie take?
I grew up on Univision and Telemundo. Like I did not when I finally watched it in English, I was like, oh wow, the words match with the mouths.
There you go, like alternate sports universe movie. What if Rocky was Spanish?
Oh,
absolutely.
And
What if
not
the natural
Italian?
was Japanese?
Yeah.
Ooh.
There you go. All right, Ryan, you are next up. I'm gonna save the Packer fan for last, but Ryan, I'm gonna let you go next.
All right. I'm starting Steve Young. Steve Young was from his time at BYU into the USFL, and then had a rough time in Tampa Bay at the beginning of his NFL career. Then he gets traded to San Francisco, gets to sit for a couple seasons, learn the NFL game, because while he was in the USFL, the guy was doing everything. He was not only throwing the ball, slinging the rock, he's also running and scrambling for his life because his offensive line was awful. But he got to sit, learn the West Coast offense, and when Joe Montana was traded to Kansas City, Steve Young stepped in, and it was just like it was easy. It was like taking a candy from a baby. Like you could tell he learned the system, he knew the system, and you kind of wonder as a 49er fan. Now, I'm not a 49er fan, I'm a Jets fan, but back in the day, you kind of wondered, all right, Joe Montana led us to 4 Super Bowls. When is Steve Young going to get his? Saw it happen in 1994. We saw it in Super Bowl 29, in the highest scoring Super Bowl ever in Super Bowl 29. And I think he threw 6 touchdowns in that game. It was that guy was surgical. He was incredible in that game against the underdog Chargers. So, but he could do it all. He could run, he could scramble, he could get out of the pocket, he could gain rushing yards if he needed to. He could deliver a 2-minute drill if he needed to. Like he mastered the West Coast offense. So he's starting.
Okay.
Bench, I'm going with Brett Favre. So if Steve Young happens to go down, you need a bit of a gunslinger in the offense. You need a bit of a gunslinger attitude in your quarterback spot. And especially if you're down a bunch of points, Brett Favre can put him on the board pretty quickly. So I'm putting him on the bench right behind Steve Young. As for cutting, sorry, Ben, I have to cut you. Great quarterback, I understand, but towards the tail end of his career, like Hector said, dude was a statue.
Yeah.
So that's my lineup. Start Steve Young, bench Brett Favre, cut Ben Roethlisberger. Steelers fans, leave your hate in the comments.
Oh, don't worry, they will. They love to leave their hate. The highway trolls they are. They tailgate under highways, by the way. I'm not even kidding. There are little highways that go over the top of their tailgating areas. Going back to your point about Steve Young, 6 touchdowns most in a game. Also the only quarterback to throw for 6 touchdowns in a Super Bowl game. So that's all time, both regular season and playoffs. 6 touchdowns, tied only with Sammy Baugh at 6. And that's
Sammy
regular
Baugh.
season. All right, so Vince, as our Packers fan, I think I imagine where you're going here, but I'm hoping to be surprised. I'm not going to lie. I'll let you take it from here.
Well, when you're looking at this list and this exercise of start, bench, and cut. So I'm looking at these 3 quarterbacks. I think, okay, the ideal quarterback is one that can make plays on his feet. You think about coming underneath the shadow of a legend. And really one of these quarterbacks followed a magic man. And so to come up behind that, it was hard to do. And then also you want to look at someone who takes some draft capital to get on your team. There's one player was take up a 1st-round pick and a 2nd-round pick in order to get on this team. So my start is, well, Brett Favre. He came under the shadow of Don Mikowski, the magic man, which could have been easy because, well, okay, yeah, that could be easy. But drafted by Atlanta and then traded for a first-round pick as a drunkard in Atlanta that the coach thought he was, just an immature fool, and he was at the time. And Ron Wolf's one of his greatest accomplishments was acquiring Brett Favre. Brett Favre is the Joe Montana of the Packers, and he was the one to do it first. The one thing I'll say about this, growing up as a Packer fan, coming into a Packer fandom in the Don Mikowski era, Brett Favre brought so much joy to my life. And there was not a game where I didn't feel like the Packers had a chance when Brett Favre was our quarterback. And no matter how much time was left, if we were going to get the ball back, it felt like there was a chance with Brett Favre in the game. It was magical to watch Brett Favre play football. So much so that I named my firstborn son after him. And
Brett,
and then,
right? I just need to make sure it's Brett and not Favre, right?
It is Brett. Yes,
okay.
It is
We
Brett.
just have to make sure because I needed it. My next question was, did you spell Favre right?
Yeah, I know. So
no, it's Favre. It is Favre, and it's actually pronounced Favre.
Favre, yeah.
Favre Stoner. Stover.
So fun story with Brett though. The stuff went down. He was already on the Jets when my son was born. But he signed with the Vikings like a month before my son was born. And we already had the name printed on bags up on the wall, all this kind of stuff. I told my wife, I said, maybe we can take one of the T's off. We got to figure something out. Thankfully, time heals all wounds. Well, at least for Packer fans, it does. Maybe not for everyone that Brett Favre is impacted. But nonetheless, I'm going Brett Favre as my start. I think he is the most underrated Hall of Fame quarterback around. I think he's top 3 all time. And absolutely love Brett Favre. I will bench Steve Young. He followed a legend in Joe Montana. He did it seamlessly. He played a Hall of Fame career. He did something we kind of make light of it, but being left-handed, you go through the history of the NFL and you realize for whatever reason, offensive coordinators couldn't figure out how to draw up plays for left-handed quarterbacks. And you wouldn't think it would be that difficult, but it has been throughout history. And Steve Young was able to take care of business there in San Francisco. And then I will cut Roethlisberger. I do think he belongs in the Hall of Fame, but I put him more in the Phillip Rivers category than I do the Steve Young and Brett Favre category. So I will cut Ben Roethlisberger. Start Favre, bench Young, cut Roethlisberger.
That's interesting. I have to go back and ask you a question about something you said. You said that Brett Favre is a top 3 quarterback for you.
Yeah.
There are 3 quarterbacks that I can think of right now that arguably have a case ahead of Brett Favre.
Sure.
In Brady Manning, this wasn't where this was going originally, guys. I promise you. But in Brady Manning and Joe Montana, as we just talked about.
Yeah. So I would go Montana and Brady as the top 2.
Okay.
And I have Favre as the 3rd.
Oof. The man that leads the NFL record, or has the NFL record for most interceptions thrown, by the way,
Yes.
is number 1 on 2 of your lists.
Yes.
While the man who led the league, or who still holds the record for highest passer rating, is only 1 on 1 of your leagues. He's cut by 1 of you. And then the man that is tied for the most 500-yard games, actually holds the record for most 500-yard games, is started by none of you and cut by 2 of you. So
hey, why do quarterbacks throw for 500 yards in a game?
Because they have no running game.
Because the defense sucks.
Because they get down. They don't score points early in the game, and so they've got to catch up later in the game. Stats are great. It's accomplishment. No doubt about it. It's special. But no.
Sounds like trying to justify a guy who threw for 336 interceptions as your number 1 pick.
And they were so exciting to watch.
Except that
was
one
he
time.
fun?
Except that one. If you're in Minnesota, except that one.
Yeah, except for that one. Guys, I appreciate it as
Well,
always.
we actually like that one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I appreciate it as always. This was a fun round 2 for start, bench, and cut. Let us know in the comments what you guys thought of these lists. I mean, would you guys have started Brett Favre 2 of the 3 times? Or would some of you started Big Ben? I know there's some Steelers fans out there that swear by it. They think he's one of the best quarterbacks. They think he's a top 3 quarterback, which I don't even want to get started on that list of potential quarterbacks ahead of him. But you know what? If somebody comments it below, maybe that becomes a comment, a future bonus round for us. Guys, before we move on to round 3 next time, Let's real quick let everybody know where to find you. Hector, in the same order we just did this in, start with you.
Yeah, new episodes of Insert Name FC every Thursday. You can find us on all social media, Instagram, X, Facebook at Insert Name FC. Obviously on the YouTube channel, you'll see the full episode of Insert Name FC, the video version, here on Thursdays. And yeah, man, if you guys want to learn about soccer, or if you guys are already a soccer snob and you want to see what the heck I'm talking about, well, that's a place where you can go. But I think the way we talk, it's a way where at any level you can enjoy it.
Yeah, and if you want to hate on American soccer standards for youth soccer, trust me, we do that enough on when I visit your show, Hector. So absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Ryan, go ahead, let the people know where to find No Credentials.
Yeah, No Credentials Acquired, your preferred podcast platform. We have a live show on Tuesdays at 6:30 Eastern and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern for the Saturday brunch, which is unless it's football season, NFL football season. The replay is on the Belly Up YouTube channel later, but usually we release our episodes Tuesday nights and on Saturday afternoons. So check us out. We're up on all the social platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also you can find me personally on all the social platforms at Who Is Ryan MCC.
Fantastic. I do love you guys' Saturday brunch, by the way.
Thank you.
It's the only brunch I enjoy, honestly. I'm not a brunch fan. I don't do mimosas, so.
Neither you and Matty Matheson, he hates brunch if you watch his videos. Man.
I'd rather just take a nap instead of going to brunch, let's be honest, because I just take a nap after brunch anyway, so I'll just get it earlier in the day. That's my theory.
There you go.
Vince, where can the people find you?
We have a new category to talk about now: brunch, lunch, dinner. We got all kinds of things to talk about. Social media, that's Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at Sports Stove. My show, the Sports Stove Football Show, is weekly. My dad joins me for that. He's the one who indoctrinated me into the Packer life, naming me after Vince Lombardi. So he got me started very early on in life. But we have a great time talking football, college football, and professional football as well. And then every Sunday night is the Belly Up Fantasy Live baseball show that we host with the network there. You can find that and all the other shows on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel.
Oh, I love it. All right, so you gave me an idea here. We're going to roll with this. I'm going to send it off with this. If you guys are watching this video, let us know in the comments, should breakfast for dinner be called Brinner? Yes or no? What do you think?
Yes.
All right. Yes. We are going to send this one away. Guys, we'll see you guys again for round 3 of the Belly Up bonus rounds. I appreciate it as always, guys.